Once again, welcome everyone to Life Design Academy Programming Room. Welcome to Module 5. Welcome to Module 5. Welcome everyone. Now, in this Module 5, we'll be looking at something special. I am Coach Anim Donatus. I will lead you in the training tonight on this programming. I'll take you through the program. So we are looking at something very important tonight. Something very, very important. Because we'll be looking at habits. And how can we reprogram our habits? Because it's not enough reading Atomic Habits. Implementation is the key. How you can implement the knowledge, everything you've gotten from Atomic Habits. So the training tonight will be split into two. While the first section, I'll run a presentation. Then in the second section, everyone who have gone through Atomic Habit will be able to speak. So that together we'll have a comprehensive review of Atomic Habit, because you matter. Yeah, you matter in this section of review of Atomic Habit. So I'll quickly share my screen while we go through this review. So we are looking at reprogramming your life through daily action. This presentation is inspired by Atomic Habit, James Clear. So everything you have learned reading Atomic Habit, will be summarizing it before hearing from you. Now, your life today is a sum of your repeated actions, not your intentions. There's a whole lot of mistakes in everywhere today. People have good intention. In fact, because of the good intention people have, they go into prayers to pray, to ask God for what they want in life, which is good and perfect. But you must get into that realm of knowledge. You know, I was teaching my children this morning, and we are looking at some of the attributes of God. One of them is that God is the all-knowing God. His attribute, omniscient God. Now, I was not telling them that God wants us to be like him. If you go through Genesis chapter 1 from verse 26, where the Bible says, and let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. So I'm not asking them, what do you think? Why do you think that man can have dominion? What is the secret of dominion? The secret of dominion is knowledge. Knowledge. God has dominion because of his knowledge. He's the all-knowing God. So for us to be like him, we need to move to that era of knowledge. So that every day, you know, you are conscious. You are living with consciousness, because every day you are programming your future. There is no any other future anywhere. Most of the time, some of those popular sayings, my future is bright, I must get there, and you see the person daily action. Remember that in Atomic Habit, we are told that every action is a vote for the person you wish to become. So your daily action determines your tomorrow. So you're either living by design or living by default. There is no middle ground. So, but what are we taking out as programming? Ask yourself a question. What are your daily actions saying about your destiny? What are your daily actions saying about your destiny? If you can answer the question, you will know either you're on the right track. When we're talking about daily action, we started with health. We are taking some daily actions on our health. Some people just believe that they will remain young. They never thought of old age. So many people don't think about old age at all. They take so many actions without knowing that or without thinking that, what is this action going to do for me in my old age? But we, in the thinkers, so if you are listening and you are not a thinker, why are you not a thinker? Why are you not a thinker? Thinkers are those in life design programming room who daily believe that once there is a shift in your thinking, what follows is a shift in your perception. And what follows is a transformed belief system. You become a thinker. Because you cannot sit down and reason. You cannot sit down and think. So, but let's dive into this training properly. Why do so many people struggle to change the old habit? You can see this man, your old habits are like big stones, mighty stones that you cannot change. That is your old habit. So why do people struggle? Because it is a habit. People struggle because habits are mental shortcuts. They are mental shortcuts learned from experience. Because those shortcuts are learned from experience. Your brain, there is a way it works. It will always want to follow those shortcuts. So, simply put, the way Atomic Habit put it, that your habit is just a memory of the steps you previously followed to solve a problem in the past. So, your brain records it. If it is easy, the brain will always want to follow it. So either good or bad. That is why we have good habits, and that is why we have old habits. So this habit, because they are rooted in your identity. Some people want to, they'll tell them, do this, do this, do this. No. What change habit is reprogramming. When you reprogram your identity, the habit will change. But before programming, you write a script. You make a design. You make a design. You make a design, then you begin to program it one after the other. Now, let's continue. Why people struggle to change? One of the major reasons why people struggle to change is lack of awareness. Lack of awareness. You see, many people don't realize what triggered their habits. And that is why in the science of how habit works, we have the cue, we have the craving, we have the response, then we have the reward. But when you lack awareness of what triggers you, what makes you, what shortcut is my brain always following? Because most of those old habits always run on autopilot. You perform them without your conscious thoughts. So your awareness trying to discover, okay, this is what makes me to do this. You know it's bad habit. When you have that awareness, you will now know what to do. Now, the next is what we call emotional attachment. Every habit has emotional attachment. Every habit. They are not just actions. Most of the habits that people exhibit are often linked to their comfort. That is why we always tell people that discomfort is the price of the next version of your life. That version you desire, that version of you want to manifest. Discomfort is the price, because most of the time what is holding you back is habit. Remember the popular saying in the programming room, a shift in your thought will lead to a shift in your habits. A shift in your habit will lead to a shift in your action. Then a shift in your action will produce a new result, a new output. So those emotional attachment, comfort, stress relieves. It's just like people who now have the habit of smoking, drug addict. Drug addict is a habit. Drinking either sugary drink or maybe alcoholic drink is emotional attachment, because it will actually suit one or two things in their life. It suits them. Maybe calm them down, maybe help them to sleep. Maybe there are those who became so attached to some drugs because it makes them to be active in the night, maybe because they want to study. Emotional attachment. You discover that sometimes somebody who overreacts, that reaction that is a habit to the person, every small thing the person is overreacting, there is an emotional attachment. Maybe that reaction is suiting a pain. There's an emotional pain that reaction is actually suiting. So the next thing is immediate reward. Remember the science of how habit works. The cue, the craving, the response, the reward. The reward, the eyes of the person is always on the reward. Bad habit most of the time gives instant gratification. While good habit, there is always delay. Like those who want to save money. Instant gratification. As the money is coming, you don't have that culture of saving. You just spend everything. Everything. But somebody who is looking at the future, instant delayed gratification, we say, no, this is for this. This will be reserved for saving. This is for this. The person has a culture and a structure. But because the brain prefers short-term pleasure over long-term gain, that is the brain for you. And that is why the habit is always like stone. Now, the next thing is lack of clear identity shift. You know, there are so many ways we have learned it in Atomic Habit, but we say the best way to change an habit is identity shift. Because trying to quit a bad habit without redefining yourself, whom you really are, is a whole lot of struggle. Because you cannot just say, I am stopping procrastination. You just wake up one morning, you look at yourself, you have the awareness, I always procrastinate. One of my major problems is procrastination. It is now an habit. You just wake up one morning and say, I'm stopping procrastination. It will not work. Rather, what you are now supposed to be looking at, discipline as a skill. You now begin to learn the skill. Say, discipline is now a skill. That is why we took that lecture. I am a disciplined person. If I say I will do this, I will do it because I am disciplined. I am a focused person. Identity shift. Once there is a shift of that identity, we discover that procrastination will go on its own. The next is environment. Environment doesn't support change. Environment, many environment you find yourself does not support change. And when I'm talking about environment, I'm not talking about your home. I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm not talking about, it can be part of it. But when we are talking about environment, it is something different when it comes to habit or when it comes to identity. When we're talking about reprogramming, and we're talking about reprogramming your environment. For instance, once you are surrounded with things that triggers your old habits, changes become difficult. That is why people struggle to change. They want to change, but they surround themselves. It's just for, let me use this popular instance. Somebody who said, I am born again. I am a new creature. But for instance, this is a young girl that has a boyfriend. But after that church confession, moves back to go and stay with the boyfriend at home, it cannot work. The person needs to change that environment. Or for instance, somebody who is who drinks sugary drink, Fanta, Cokes, malt, and the rest of them. And this person will always stock them in the fridge, in his fridge. And most of the time, the person wakes up in the night to go and suit the heart, to go and have a nice time, enjoyment, so to say. You discover that there's a conflict environment. To change, the person will have to take away all those drinks from his fridge, discard them, practicing discipline as a skill. Then the person has changed his environment. The person can wake up, the body needs it, but the environment does not support it. There's nothing the person can do at that time. By the time it is practiced over time, the person will change. That bad habit will go. So you have to take care of your environment. It's just like somebody who wants to read. Say, I am going to start reading. You have to take that book. Most of the time, you put it on your bed. So that as you're coming there, you see it. You have not read today, you pick it up. Sometimes there's a setting you have, maybe with your bookshelf. As you're just coming in, you see your books. Or your table. For instance, I'll be reading chapter 2 or chapter 3 when I come back home today. What do? I get a book holder, open that chapter on my table. As soon as I get into the house, I will see it. I'll know it's time to read. Number 6, no replacement habit. For you to have a good habit, or for you not to struggle with habits, changes, you have to have replacement, because there is no kingdom without a king. There is no kingdom without a king. Your life is like a kingdom. It cannot remain vacuum. So you must develop the habit you are using to replace the old one. You can't erase the habit. You must replace it. If you remove an old routine without filling the gap, the mind will always revert back to those old ones. And that is why, as you read Atomic Habit, intentionally apply it. I'm only taking time here. Other things I won't take time. Intentionally have a replacement for the old habit. Sit down, write the scripts of your habits. develop the replacement. This is this, and replacing it with this. The next one is what we call all or nothing thinking. Many people will always expect instant change, instant success. But one thing people fail to understand is that it is small actions daily that forms the habits. So remember that progress is not perfection. That is why what you look at, you reward your progress. You don't reward perfection. For instance, you want to develop a new habit in your children. All you need to do is to reward progress. As you are taking away the bad habit, you want to replace the bad habit. Give them a new one, expect progress, reward action, and don't expect overnight change. Then number 8, lack of accountability or support. You see, why we have the programming room is for accountability. Many people don't understand that if you don't intentionally submit yourself to accountability, you cannot develop this reading culture. Like in the Readers Club, intentionally want people to submit summary. Would have just given you the book, we forget about every other thing, we just go and sleep, and at the end, we come, we do our review. Those that are reading, we do their review, and the rest of them, we go. But we want you to really benefit. That is why we have that accountability. Accountability is that you are submitting yourself for the mentorship for a certain period of time, and you are ready to do what you are told to do. Like in the programming day, in the programming room, 90 days reprogramming, non-negotiable. You must carry out those activities daily. We have reduced this to say, do these 3 and report it every day. I'm still expecting a report today. But there are so many other ones we are giving to us. All those are habits. Habits. We are programming in order to live healthy, holy, happy, and wealthy. Then number 9, underestimating small changes. So many people underestimate small changes. They only believe on big actions. But what actually reprogram the brain is small, consistent action. Take note, small, consistent action is what reprogramming the brain. That is why there are some scenarios, there are some of those changes you want. You can just write them on a piece of paper, put it in your pocket. You always bring it out. When we get to identity engineering, we are going to go in a new dimension in our identity engineering. Yeah. There's some dimension we'll be going in order to develop a new identity. See, old habit doesn't die easily because they live in your identity. So be sure you are in the identity engineering section. Identity engineering is that we are going to be causing a shift in our identity. Because your identity is whom you are, whom people know you to be. And that is the original design of God. God wants us to have some identity. You should understand the mind of God. So to change some of those habits, you must rewrite your self-image and rebuild your environment to match your new beliefs, your belief system. And that is why our mission is to have a shift in our belief system. And this shift comes through the reprogramming. Now, let's look at this. The science. Sorry. The secret of daily reprogramming. Let's look at this secret. The secret of daily reprogramming is that you should not start with identity. I mean, don't start with goals, start with identity. That is why I'm talking about the identity engineering section. It's a whole workshop on its own to reprogram our identity. Because every small habit rewrites the brain. So we start with identity shift. We rewrite the software. Remember, when we're talking about programming, we are looking at a human like the computer, the human brain like the computer. In the computer, the first program installed is called the operating system, OS. Now, the OS determines how that computer is going to perform. In fact, the OS becomes the identity of the computer. That is why when I say, this is your computer, it says it's Windows 8, Windows 10, or Windows 98, or Windows Millennium, or Windows 2000. Those are different versions of OS. But currently, somebody will say, my Windows is Windows 11. It becomes an identity. So that very first software, a mental program that controls all our habitual behavior, because almost all our behaviors are habitual. Habitual. That is why the human operating system will rewrite it and install it, reprogram it. Daily repetition becomes self-programming. That is why you will intentionally write a script, because every action is a vote for the person you wish to become, you are becoming. When you brush your teeth in the morning, when you speak kindly, when you exercise, your brain records it as who you are. So you intentionally take those actions so that your brain will be recording it as whom you are. The 1% rule. Tiny changes, big results. Now, what we have been doing is become 1% better daily. Don't think of changing your whole life in a day. You have gone through atomic habit. Don't think of changing everything overnight. 1% better every day. That is the secret. Because great success is built on small, repeated wins. So don't change overnight change. Change consistency. You water that leaf. Every day you go to water it. Every day you are pouring small water. Consistently, before you know it, it will germinate. As you pour water again, before you know it, it will grow little. Consistent, before you know, it will grow into a tree. Consistency, before you know, it will begin to bear fruit. You consistently water a good habit. So once you pick a small habit, intentionally water it every day. That is the secret. We've given you so many of them in terms of health programming. Don't fail to water it by doing it, because you are now a disciplined person. The habit loop, of course, we know this. Q, what triggers your action? So when trying to cultivate this habit, you intentionally develop a good cue, what triggers your action. Then the craving, the feeling you get from it, the feeling it creates in you. Then the response, the behavior, then the outcome, the reward. Now, let's say an example. You want to become disciplined. We've given us a whole lot of them, but let's look at, you want to become a disciplined person. You say, I'll be waking up by 5 a.m. You set your alarm. The alarm will ring. The craving will start. Your body will start craving for comfort. The alarm triggers you. The body starts craving for comfort. The feeling it creates in you. You need that comfort at that early morning. All your body is saying, then the response, what you do now matters at that time. It is either you snooze, you lost the discipline. Because the outcome is discipline. You want. If you snooze it, you stop it and continue sleeping, you lost the discipline you are trying to design. Remember, if you lost the discipline, you have extra sleep, which is the reward. But if you stand up, the reward becomes discipline. So your brain runs like a program. To reprogram your life, rewrite the loop. Rewrite it and follow it. Building powerful daily action. The first thing you do is you make it obvious. Of course, we know this. Lay out journal on your decks. Maybe you want to read or you want to journal. Make it obvious, make it attractive. Use nice pen or use a musical background, maybe when you are studying. Just make your environment where you study to look attractive. Maybe you want to be a good reader, you intentionally go and buy a good sitting table, a good reading table, a book holder. You make that place where you are reading attractive. If possible, you can drop a bottle of malt there or drop one thing. You tell yourself, as I'm reading, I will take in this. You just try to, because you are trying to develop a good habit. Make it easy. You can just write just one page. You can just read just one page or 2 or 3 pages at the beginning before you continue to make it satisfying. Reward yourself after each of the venture. You are building this powerful daily action. You want to form a new habit, and you follow this, you discover you will be able to form a new habit. The other one is deleting negative programming. You have to delete negative programming. Make bad habit invisible. Make it invisible. I've told you, for instance, you are used to maybe taking drugs, or you are used to some kind of drinking sugary drink. Make it invisible. Take it away from your fridge. Take it away from your table. You are the type that you are used to this present distraction of, in our age, you are always watching reels on Facebook, on YouTube. You're always engaging yourself on distraction. Take some of those distractions, make it invisible. There are some apps you may need to delete on your phone. Like personally, there's one particular app. Whenever I see it in my phone, I delete it. I've forgotten the name now, because it will always pop up some things that you don't like, and it is a source of distraction to me. So I always delete it on my phone. Make them unattractive. Just make those applications that always lead you, instead of you to read. People will tell you that they don't have time to read books, but they have time to watch reels. They have time to spend on Facebook. They have time to spend on YouTube. They have time to spend on some unnecessary thing. Make them difficult. Make them difficult. There are sometimes, for instance, you want to sleep on time, you take your phone, you put it in another room. Just make it difficult for you to access that bad habit. Maybe, for instance, you are the type that for you to sleep, you must take your phone to your bed. You have to make it difficult for you to do that. Make them unsatisfying. You can't install new software while old programs are running. You have to delete the old programming before you install a new one. Now, and one of the best way to do that is to reprogram your environment. Your environment is a prophecy. Your environment is a prophecy. It prophesies every day. Your environment shapes your behavior. So you have to surround yourself with growth cues. Growth cues, things that make you grow. Books, things that make you grow. You have to, because system is more powerful than willpower. Develop systems that will empower you to grow. Your environment should be a system. Your environment should not be a distraction. If you want to eat healthy, keep fruit inside, not snacks. There's some people, when you get to their fridge, you see these snacks, you see this biscuit, you see this one, you see this one. But those who want to live healthy, when you see fruit, you see this, they try to make it compulsory. This is who I am. I am the type that take fruits every day. Self-reflection exercise. Ask yourself a question. What's one area I want to reprogram? Look at your life. To those in the programming room, throughout the previous month, this last month, have been reprogramming health. All through the month, we have been reprogramming our health because we understand we've got only one body to live. Health is wealth. But a lot of persons fail. So you can identify the area of your life you need to reprogram and start it. What small daily action can I do to add or change in this area I need to reprogram? Then what environment can I adjust to support it? You have to do it. For instance, a student who wants to improve reading, at the end, that student will become a learner. So you have to, as that student, it's not really, exam is coming to read. No. That person is not going to be a lifelong learner. But if, whether there is exam or there is no exam, the person just develop that studying habit, the person is going to be a lifelong learner. Like an entrepreneur who want to create wealth, who want to have wealth mindset, the person will have to start saving. That is why we have gone through the richest man in Babylon, and we have learned a lot from it. The parent who is always listening daily is going to create a peaceful home with the children. So all these are examples. You can copy them, practice them, and you discover that together we can create history. I mean it. Together we can create history. By you reprogramming your life, look at your daily actions. Develop a script. In the programming room, we'll soon be getting to a section that will call systemizing your life. We are going to walk you through how to systemize your life. And you become a system on its own. And you will achieve great in life. I mean, you will achieve great things in life. If you're already in the programming room, your thinking has changed. Your perception has changed. Your frequency of vibration has changed. And that is what we intend to achieve in the programming room. Once again, I am Coach Anim Donatus. I'm the founder of Life Design Academy. And our mission remains creating a new superior belief system through the reprogramming of the human operating system. So thank you for joining me in this lecture. I'll be giving opportunity to the readers in the house to make their presentation on what they have benefited from atomic habit, from what they have learned from atomic habit. So I'm going to end this particular section so that is one of the sections, then we get into the general contribution where every other person will be contributing. So thank you once again, and God bless you all.